Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. I gotta tell you guys, this tea thing that I've got going on because of Alice in Wonderland characters seeing their introduction into the Descendants franchise, I love it so much. It helps me clear my mind every morning before I put my thoughts together on another great Descendants of Zombies video for you guys and produce it, because this is really an honor to be able to sit behind this podcast microphone and talk about Descendants of Zombies and the way it's meant to be reviewed for what feels like forever. Having said that, I am your host of this Descendants of Zombies show, this podcast on YouTube, which everybody loves, your voice of Descendants of Zombies, which you guys have strategically made me over the last 10 years. It is unbelievable, the love and support that you guys have shown this YouTube channel, and I can't even begin to put into words how appreciative I am of you, and for the fact that you are just here watching this show. It is a time to be a fan of Descendants and Zombies, most definitely, because of how Descendants has really captivated our souls, taken the world by storm. Tens of millions of people on all social media platforms have fallen in love with Descendants and Zombies, and deservingly so. The obvious reasons that you can point out is because of the powerful script, the powerful characters, the message behind each movie, each chapter, if you would, of Descendants. I myself have never read the Descendants books, but I know the books have definitely been a huge inspiration to the success of this. Of course, there are a total of 9. There are 4 of them on top of the New York Times bestseller list, and along with that, Descendants has garnered a lot of attention for the revenue. Of course, the merch from the Worlds Collide Tour, the revenue taken in from the Worlds Collide Tour. It is truly unprecedented, and the response that the Worlds Collide Tour has received up until this point, which is several dates left, up until September 16th. The total has yet to come in, but I am really excited about it. And I am just as excited about all of you for Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland, and excited for Zombies 5, with the latest release window suggesting anywhere between now and 2028. That is something that a lot of people are really upset over. And I can understand why you're upset over the fact that Zombies 5 will not be happening until 2028. I know a lot of you will be teenagers. You probably will have been growing out of zombies by then. But the thing is, I think you're never too young to fall in love with Descendants and Zombies. And I truly mean that, because I see people who are graduating high school that are still big fans of zombies as they were when they were in elementary school. When they were like 7, 8 years old, they are still big fans of zombies. So with that having been said, and how I really believe that Zombies does not appeal to just one specific age group, by the time Zombies 5 touches down, I think it's going to forever and always hold a special place in all of our hearts. Because I can tell you, at nearly almost 40 years old, ever since watching Zombies since I was 25 and first discovering the franchise, I have a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies and how many hearts it's touched, and how much it means to each and every one of you, because I know what it's like to be in your position. I know what it's like to fall in love with something and wish that it would last forever, and that we could be lost in the moment for an eternity. And I think that's how a lot of people felt about Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place years ago, when it was at the heights of its popularity and it was receiving rave reviews on Disney Channel, and the reason behind why it had such profound success as a movie for Disney Channel years later. By 2009, 2010, both Hannah Montana and Wizards were turned into successful movies for Disney Channel, and then High School Musical made it to the box office, becoming the first of its kind to do so of its generation. I think Descendants of Zombies could get to that point. I am a firm believer that the success that we have seen from all the success Descendants of Zombies has previously seen could land it on the big screen, and I would be front and center for a theatrical premiere of Descendants of Zombies, because these stars are incredibly talented, and they believe in the franchise so much. So why criticize them? Why are so many people on their YouTube shows every morning criticizing Kylie Cantrall, criticizing Ruby Rose Turner? For the life of me, I don't know why. So I kind of just wanted to show up on YouTube from the very first video that was uploaded on this show and provide you with great commentaries. To give you hope about Descendants of Zombies. To know that we would get to a point that we'd be proud to see for Descendants and Zombies. Because I'm a big fan of Kylie Cantrall, I have to tell you that. I fell in love with Kylie Cantrall's YouTube show years ago when she was reviewing some of my favorite Nick shows, Sam and Cat, Victorious, iCarly, and she had nothing but good things to say about it. Around the same time her friends were uploading videos of them singing and dancing on YouTube, and she looked at her parents and she said, I want to do that too. I think I can do that too. And nearly 25 years later, here's Kylie Cantrall, one of the best dancers in the world, one of the greatest singers of all time, having hit after hit on the Billboard chart, promoting an album independently. Her resume speaks for itself. Gabby Duran and the Unsuitables, High School Musical, the series, Descendants, Raven's Home, working alongside legends the likes of Rita Ora and Raven Simone. Incredible honors for Kylie Cantrall, and she definitely learned stuff really quickly. That's why I've kind of compared her to Hannah Montana. Generations past and this new generation, if there was a Hannah Montana of this new generation, it would have to be Kylie Cantrall, because you compare songs like Goodie Bag, Denim Seed, and to songs like I Got Nerve and Just Like You and Breakout from Miley Cyrus as late as 2007, 2008 in her career. I think that she's really reintroducing herself in a very powerful way, and kind of like in the same kind of form that Miley did years ago. And where did Miley end up? Miley went down in history for being one of the greatest legends of all time, an accolade I think that could be bestowed upon your favorite Descendant stars. And if it hasn't happened for them yet, I'm here to make sure it does happen by reviewing them the way they were meant to be reviewed and giving them praise where praise is deserved, not to take it away from them. Because a lot of people will criticize Descendants for the color scheme, for the plot, for the music, for the characters, for the names, for how they're inspired off characters from Alice in Wonderland, from how they're inspired off characters from Sleeping Beauty and 101 Dalmatians, if you're talking about Carlos's character, who could have had more significance in the Descendants franchise than he was given. Because he brought the best out of not only himself, but he brought the best out of everybody he worked with, which was an incredible honor for Cameron Boyce to have. And I miss Cameron Boyce, I just want to say that. I think that people like Dove, in the same light, when people like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson walked away from Descendants and shut the door on ever reprising the roles, while a lot of people felt discouraged about that because they felt like they couldn't tell a story anymore without Cameron Boyce, the thing was, people fell in love with the spin-off series, The Rise of Red, because of people like Kylie Cantrall and Malia Baker, who have done a fabulous job promoting this. I think without them, Descendants probably would have never gotten off the ground and probably would have just remained buried after a 5-year hiatus. Here come Kylie Cantrall, Malia Baker, Ruby Rose Turner, and not only do they show great chemistry on the set of Descendants, but off of it too. You know, I speak on all these stars having great chemistry because this is an era that's represented by great chemistry and beautiful friendships. I mean, you take a look at the friendship of Malachi Burton and Freya Sky more recently, which is the best friendship I can put on display for you guys and give the spotlight to for a moment. I mean, they love each other so much. It's almost making you believe that they are really in love with each other and romantically inclined more than they ever are letting on, because they are just so close. They tell each other everything, and because of that, they're bringing the best of each other as part of the cast of Zombies. So I have more confidence than ever before to review Freya Sky and Malachi Burton with such praise and give them the praise they deserve, because there are a lot of people like Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment years ago who just could never hit it off, who could never find that chemistry, who could never find that bond. It wasn't until years later, halfway through production of Hannah Montana and the movie, that they found that bond, but it wasn't mutual. The thing was they wanted other things out of life that had everything to do with everybody else but themselves, and they could never just, show us that, true love really does exist and hope does exist for anybody. And then a decade and a half later, 15 years after the success of Hannah Montana, here comes Kylie Cantrall and Malia Baker to really revitalize that hope does exist and has a chance out there somewhere in the Disney universe. In the annals of time, there is a hope that two people can have a friendship and stay friends for forever and always. And Descendants and Zombies has created some of those beautiful friendships of all time. Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim, Freya Sky and Malachi Burton, Sophia Carson and Dove Cameron, Mila Baker and Kylie Cantrall and Ruby Rose Turner. The list goes on and on and on. Because these friendships have received criticism not because the friendships are really real and really out there. They receive criticism because people are just filled with jealousy about how far they've come. And that's where my greatest issue lies with the Descendants franchise, is that people just can't get away from criticizing it. Why are we criticizing it? Shouldn't we just be giving it praise and giving it hope? Because you take a look at the age demographic who love Descendants and Zombies so much. I know 95% of my audience are all girls between the ages of 7 through 15. And because my age demographic is 7 through 15, I'm not going to come on here and criticize Descendants and Zombies. I'm just going to give you guys hope that we will see Descendants 5, that we will get to Zombies 5, regardless of when it happens, even if it is 2028. Because if it's 2028, I know there are tens of millions of fans of Descendants and Zombies who have never seen a video on this YouTube channel, who could see a video on this YouTube channel because of you hitting the subscribe and the like button. Because when you hit the subscribe and the like button, it pushes this YouTube channel that much further out into the algorithm, so somebody else out there who loves Descendants Descendants of Zombies and has a greater appreciation than all of us ever did can find these videos. And we give them hope. That's the thing. The Descendants of Zombies universe needs us. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have the best fans in the world subscribed to this YouTube channel who are forever supportive of me, who are forever supportive of this show and its message. So I think we can share that message to people who have yet to see this channel, who have yet to watch these videos and draw inspiration from them, regardless if it's to create your own YouTube, to talk about Descendants of Zombies in your own light. I think that Descendants of Zombies has definitely made people stronger and made people stand up for what they believe in more than they've ever been given credit, because you guys have never been given enough credit for being fans of Descendants of Zombies, if you can allow me to say that. I think that you've seen your fair share of criticism, but I think there's a point in time when the criticism has to be taken away. I think it has to be overshadowed by the pride that exists inside of your heart for being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. If you weren't a fan of Descendants of Zombies, you wouldn't be watching Descendants of Zombies 100 times over on YouTube. You wouldn't be watching music videos. You wouldn't have memorized the lyrics to every single song or showed up at the Worlds Collide Tour, dressed up in the finest gowns. The thing about you guys at the Worlds Collide Tour is you glowed. And because you glowed, you showed the world, in light of all the criticism Descendants of Zombies was seeing, that you were so proud to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies, and you were proud of the stars in the franchise. And that is something to be commended for. And that is something I want to honor you guys for through my commentaries. It's not just to show up and talk about Descendants of Zombies and go away and never be seen or never be heard from again. I want to have a friendship with you guys, which is an understanding of how much you love Descendants of Zombies and appreciate you for how much you love Descendants of Zombies, rather than criticize Descendants of Zombies and say, I didn't like this scene. I didn't like this specific moment in the script. Even though it was a significant time where the torch was passed from Freya Skye and Malachi Burton, from Mila Manheim and Meg Donnelly, or a moment where Zed thought he was going to zombie out and leave Addison behind in the annals of time for forever and always. Even though it may have been a significant time when Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson saw their exit from the Descendants franchise because they believed they had told the story and completed it, telling it without Cameron Boyce wouldn't just felt right. The thing is, there were so many moments that these franchises gave us, and I think there could be more shows on YouTube talking about Descendants of Zombies because of these moments. But for the life of me, I don't know why people love criticizing it so much. Probably because they find it annoying. Probably because they think it's stupid. But I'm here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. There's nothing wrong at just 9:15 a.m. every morning uploading a show with your feelings about Descendants of Zombies in it, because you are just as big of a fan of Descendants of Zombies as every little girl out there who's ever clicked on a thumbnail having anything to do with Descendants because she loves the songs or loves the music or loves how people feel inspired because of Descendants of Zombies, because she too can feel courageous and feel strong. There's nothing wrong with that. There's just way too much criticism being thrown the way of Descendants of Zombies for Kylie Cantrall's point of view about life or being an actress, or her opinion about how you have to do this to get involved in the industry. Because there's a lot of pressure and a lot of peer pressure that goes with the industry. Years ago, Miley Cyrus was faced with a lot of peer pressure from her friends in school, and she never ever thought she'd make it as one of the biggest stars in the world. Now, I know her dad was Billy Ray Cyrus, and he had everything to do with that because of his career and his success. But the thing was, she had this thing, it was called Miley Miserable, Make Miley Miserable. It was an operation she thought that her friends were out on every single day of their life to pick on her, to back her into proverbial corners. And it even got so bad for Sophia Carson that she even had to transfer schools. It's a story many people have never heard tell of, but if you do your research, you'll find out that that story is actually true, where she got, in positions where she felt like she had to transfer schools, and she did, and she went on to become one of the biggest actresses in the world. The thing about these stars is, the thing that's really amazing about it is they're just scratching the surface of their place in the world, and once they figure out their places in the world and the meaning behind their place in the world, they are going to go on to the heights of unprecedentedness. And I just feel so honored to be here, to have covered Descendants of Zombies for the last 10 years. 7 years for Zombies, 10 years for Descendants. And it's really hard to believe that we've gotten to a point now where we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of Descendants, and more people are realizing the legacy and the lineage behind Descendants and Zombies, which is really what it is. It's a legacy. It's just a matter of solidifying the legacies of your favorite Descendant stars in a way that's been meant to be solidified for what feels like forever without the criticism. Because when people like Kylie Cantrall will not YouTube themselves because they're afraid of what they're going to find and see, that presents an issue. And because it presents an issue, there is something that can be done about it. Because we as critics on YouTube do not have to come on and show up as critics. We can show up as supporters. We can give them a heartfelt thank you on every video that we upload about Descendants of Zombies. Because I think that heartfelt thank yous are really missing, not just on YouTube, but in the world. And I get that from every day when I encounter people and they don't even say hi to you when they pass by you on the street. I think that if more people said hi to you, it would give you more confidence. It would feel as if you're doing something important in life and you're making a difference in somebody's life. Even if you just said hi, if you tap somebody on the shoulder and said, hey, I feel as if I haven't told you I loved you in a long time. And honestly, that's where some of those beautiful friendships in the world are created, off of how people tell each other they love them. And I may be saying this because I've never really heard the words I love you in a really long time, but I really do believe there's never enough kindness or enough kind words in this world. And I know I'm a guy who sits on his podcast every morning talking about his video game obsession, talking about how his love for Descendants of Zombies has exceeded the expectations of everybody, and drinks a cup of herbal tea every morning putting his thoughts together. But I think it's the most effective way to talk about your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, because if you can't talk about them in that light, then really what's the point? Because they do deserve respect. They do deserve a profound amount of credit for getting to the point that they're at, because without them, I don't think Descendants of Zombies would have ever gotten to the point that it's at. I don't think it would have ever gotten to where the producers and the writers would have wanted it to get. And I don't think going into this they ever thought Descendants of Zombies would hit it off with the fans like it has. But years later, so many people are fans of it because of the music, because of the powerful message. And I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a fan of Descendants of Zombies, more power to you, because the further you can take this, the longer it will be. And it will last for forever. And because I know that's what you guys want. You want to see Descendants of Zombies get to a point where it lasts for forever, where it never ends. Because Disney's always had this thing where they could never get past 4 seasons of a show, an episodic TV series, or a movie with a trilogy. You know, a trilogy is one way of looking at it, but when you could have had High School Musical 4 and High School Musical 5 years ago with new students, which is something I don't think Disney's ever looked at. The thing is, they did years later with the High School Musical series, I know, but they could have done this years before the High School Musical series ever showed up on Disney+. Why they did that, I don't know. They had a fear of them getting older. I don't have an answer for that. But the thing is, I guess, too, it had something to do with how Disney always had this thing where they would sprinkle you on TV shows like Shake It Up years ago and really test the waters with your vibe, like they did with Dove Cameron for Shake It Up, and Bella Thorne reaches out to Dove Cameron after her song was heard in the background in a scene for Shake It Up, an episode, and they offered her an opportunity on a show called Bits and Pieces, later rebanded to Liv and Maddie. I think more opportunities need to really be handed out. I mean, you can't tell me that Ruby Rose Turner was only on this show Coop and Cammy Ask the World ever before going to Orange is the New Black and then becoming a part of the cast of Descendants years later. Ruby was so full of life, and Ruby was just so vibrant. And I felt so honored to be able to talk about Ruby Rose Turner on my show, because I really thought Ruby had something special. And not only did she have something special, but Ruby had a heart. And I am genuinely saying that Ruby had a heart. There isn't a night of my life where I don't wish Ruby was here to help me make sense of life in general, because she just seems like such a kind person, somebody you want to take a long walk with every night just to get to know. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a real sweetheart and I love these Descendant stars so much and I think they deserve a hell of a lot better in the way of reviews than what they've been getting. But it's really true. She's like somebody that you want to take a long walk with every night just to get to know and have the honor to be in the presence of. Because I can tell you from one heart to another, it is really an honor of mine to be able to sit behind this podcast microphone and talk to you about your favorite franchise and your favorite stars with a heart and a half, because I think a lot of people don't do that. And it's really an honor of mine to be in your guys' presence, because without you, this show would have never happened. Jonathan Clarke would not be here. There would be no Jonathan Clarke. And I know a lot of time it sounds like I come on this show and I talk about myself from beginning to end, but I talk about myself because I tell you stories that relate to Descendants and Zombies in a way that it's never been relayed to you before, which is a very effective way of doing it. I know it feels like I talk a lot about myself, but I think it's a very effective way of doing it in a way that is more powerful than ever before, because it's attracting more people to hit the subscribe button. You know, people are here because they are fans of Descendants and Zombies, and I just wanted to do that for you. I wanted to bring these franchises to life in a way it's never been brought to life before. Because a lot of people don't drink tea because they feel inspired by Alice in Wonderland characters every morning on their podcast. They drink some Gatorade crap that doesn't really taste a whole lot great. And believe you me, I've seen people do that, where they've drank a full Gatorade during a show and they mumble on for forever about Descendants of Zombies, and at the end of the video you're like, what did I just watch? You know, how many brain cells did I just lose? How many brain cells did I cough up? I've never wanted to do that for you. If I've ever wanted to do anything, I've wanted to create videos for you that you would feel inspired by. That you would know that this guy really believes in Descendants of Zombies and the chance of a zombie apocalypse ever happening. Because, I just saw a video a couple of days ago of Freya Sky and Malachi Burton putting their friendship on display, and even Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim spoke on it, and they were incredibly fond of the chemistry they had and the friendship, the bond they had within the first few scenes of Descendants of Zombies. They hit it off, and I wish 10 years ago that would have been the case for Disney Channel, but there was just something happening with both Disney and Nick that really wasn't adding up, because I think it had a lot to do with the pressure that these stars were under. Because, I mean, if you're in front of millions of people, if you're constantly in front of a camera and then distributed to millions of people, just think about how you would handle that. I talk about wanting to be a part of the Descendants of Zombies franchise, but sometimes I've wondered if would have been as revered as these stars would have been, or would have been able to handle the pressure. And then you criticize people like Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez for taking a reprieve, a hiatus, if you would, after cracking under pressure. They cracked under pressure because they had no choice. They didn't crack under pressure to be subjected to criticism from each and every one of us. So I think that it's just jumping to a formidable conclusion, if anything, to say that this happened for this particular reason without having given it a chance. And I feel as if a lot of people just aren't showing up to talk about Descendants of Zombies on their show. They're showing up to criticize it when they have no particular reason or incentive to criticize it. If you had a reason to criticize it, I could understand it. Like how you criticize the Place to Be music video and the Don't Mess With This music video. Why did you criticize it? Because you had nothing else better to do with your life. And because you're a critic, you wanted to perceive yourself for being just that, a critic. And I think it's ridiculous when people just show up and they criticize stuff when they have no business nor no place criticizing it, and I just wanted to take that away from you. So if Freya Sky and Malachi Burton were going to YouTube themselves, they would hear nice reviews about themselves. If Miley Cyrus was going to YouTube herself from generations past, she was going to hear nothing but nice things about herself. If people like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson showed up to the dance ever again, they would hear nice things about themselves. And especially Ruby and Kylie, who have this habit of crying themselves to sleep every night because they can never find anything on YouTube that's actually worth watching about themselves. I just wanted to take that away from them. I just wanted them to know that there was hope out there for the franchises, and there was hope out there for the people who are loved by them so much. You guys have deserved far better than what you've been hearing on YouTube for a very long time, and I've just wanted to give that to you in a way that I don't think any other YouTube creator is showing up to do for you. And in light of that, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your life. Thank you so much for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants of Zombies, because for me, it really is an honor to have showed up here on YouTube and talked about Descendants of Zombies in a way that I think for far long enough it's meant to be talked about. I know I talk about a lot of crazy things about how I live near a soda plantation and a chemical plant, but you guys have allowed me to be your voice of Descendants of Zombies because of that for a very long time, and it really means something to me to be able to sit behind this podcast microphone and to have critiqued Descendants of Zombies for you in a way that I think that it's been meant to be critiqued for a very long time. Because if you're going to show up and talk about Descendants of Zombies and talk about Descendants of Zombies in a way that a lot of people are going to love you and a lot of people are going to find time in appreciating your videos and your reviews of Descendants of Zombies. Just don't rank the songs, don't rank your favorite moments from 1 to 5, and then see the exit sign and leave. If you're going to promise people Descendants of Zombies videos, show up with Descendants of Zombies videos every day and fulfill your promise of uploading hundreds of Descendants of Zombies videos like I did over a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago I showed up on this YouTube channel and I promised you hundreds of Descendants of Zombies videos, and a year and a half later over 300 plus videos have been uploaded on this YouTube channel, 1 to 4 videos every day. Regardless of the time they're uploaded, they're always uploaded, and I always show up. Because I take great pride in creating these videos for you, because I believe that you have deserved far better than what you've been finding on YouTube, because the videos really aren't delivering for you. People promise you reviews of Descendants of Zombies. The least they can do is show up and give you those reviews of Descendants of Zombies they have promised you for forever and always. I love creating Descendants of Zombies videos, and it's really an honor for me to be here in front of this podcast microphone talking about Descendants of Zombies, regardless of what's happening in my own life or how my own life unfolds. It's such an honor to be here, and it's such an honor to have over 3,000 subscribers, to wake up every morning and realize that your subscribers went up even by just 1 subscriber every night, and you're approaching 50,000 views and ever so high on the YouTube algorithm because of that. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel, and I hope you continue to show for the foreseeable future, because as I've said many times on this YouTube show, I don't know where I'd be without you. You guys are the strongest force in the world. You believe in whoever hosts these shows about Descendants of Zombies, and because you believe in the people who host these shows about Descendants of Zombies, You have deserved nothing but the best for far long enough now, and it's about time somebody showed up and promised you Descendants and Zombies videos and gave you Descendants and Zombies videos the way they were meant to be given to you. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel, which I can only hope you're going to continue to show for the foreseeable future. So if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel in the final few moments that I have on my first podcast this morning, I think you might just want to do that. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Let me know you're out there. Let me know you love and support these videos, because it really is an honor for me to be able to sit behind this podcast microphone and to review Descendants and Zombies for what feels like forever, for a very long time. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being you. A lot of thank yous being thrown around this morning, but I just want to say that this show will forever and always be here for you to help you make sense of the franchises you love the way they were meant to be reviewed for a very long time. I'm your host of Descendants and Zombies. I am your voice of Descendants and Zombies. Call it what you wish, hoping that there will be enough kindness spread in this lifetime by the time my life is ended and my legacy is left behind. But until we talk again on this YouTube channel, by YouTube, be kind to one another, because kindness really does go a long way in this world.